Welcome to the Women Choosing Growth podcast, where we feature inspiring stories of success, challenges of growth, and lessons learned from women entrepreneurs, industry experts, and thought leaders who have been through the growing pains inevitable as an entrepreneur. Whether you are just getting started or are looking to scale up your business, our show is designed to provide you with the tools, resources, and community you need to grow your business. Join your host, Tina Sue, a lifelong entrepreneur and business growth advisor, as we explore topics such as marketing, sales, finance, leadership, and personal growth, all tailored specifically to the needs of women entrepreneurs. So if you're ready to grow your business faster and smarter, then this podcast is for you. Thanks for tuning in, and let's get started.
I have been waiting for this day for Wendy Meadows to come on our show and share her expertise with us, because we are so aligned on our purpose of helping women get aligned with their true selves. And I really am excited for what you're about to share, Wendy. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
We have so much to uncover in a short period of time today. We'll do our best. But before we get into the why high achieving women, which is who we serve, get stuck sometimes, before we get into the why of that, I want to know about your why. Why did you kind of pivot your career from being a successful attorney to helping high achieving women?
And that is a multi-layered answer, and I would give you the TLDR answer. But the why is it started with the how a little bit. And what happened, so I was chugging along, being an attorney, being a litigator, doing all the things, I was a partner of a small firm. And in 2016, so that's 9 years ago. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
9 years ago, I started this health and wellness business on a lark, just because I wanted something else to do, even though my plate was already pretty full. And what I found in that business was every morning I got to work in a different way. And that was just pouring into women by the wee hours of the morning. So I'd wake up in the morning from 5 to 7. I was communing with other women, pouring life into them, pouring love into them, giving them virtual high fives, and just helping them along their health and wellness journey. And I noticed not only did I love it, obviously, because it was so positive in contrast to what I was doing in the family law context. So as a family law attorney, you can imagine how not touchy-feely that is in terms of we are arguing all the time and advocating all the time. And the issues are really hard and really heavy because we're dealing with kids and money, right? So when we are talking about dividing kids and money, I don't think there's two worse things to talk about, right? Fair. And so that compared with what I was doing in the morning, which was pouring life into women who wanted to make decisions and were excited to make these decisions to live healthy, I started to see the contrast. I saw the contrast in the way I serve people. Also saw the way I started talking to these women, or the way I was talking to these women, which was coaching, right? That coaching language started to translate into my law practice. And as I translated that more and more into my law practice, I said, and could practice law differently, it made me sit back and think, I think I'm onto something here. I think I can do something different with my life in terms of either practicing law in a different way or what else do I have to give to the world to make it a for real career? So that is the how that got to the why to got to where I am today.
I like the for real career, as if an attorney isn't a real career, but it's your passion that you had felt a different passion.
A different passion, a different energy. It felt more aligned. I realized I am not the type of person who wants to tear someone down on the witness stand. It feels awful, awful. And compared to, I can just pour life into people, and that can be a career, and that can be really soul fulfilling. I was like, why wouldn't I want to do that?
I love that. And there was a situation with some colleagues that kind of helped you solidify your next mission?
Several. Unfortunately, several people who I was close to and or colleagues that I knew of passed away in this relatively short time frame. And every person was a little bit different, but made the light bulb go off. So the first woman passed away, and she was my age. And when I was reading her obituary, it struck me that everything in the obituary was about her legal career, every blessed thing. It was about her achievements. Maybe it was about education and her legal career. And that was it. And there's nothing else in there. And I was obviously saddened this woman passed away, but it made me think about my own untimely demise, and
your own obit.
Right. And what I wanted to be in there. And I'm like, I don't want to be just a lawyer like that. And I feel bad saying just a lawyer, but I didn't want
Sure.
my whole identity to be wrapped up in being an attorney. I think is the better way to say it.
Mm-hmm.
So that had me thinking. And then another friend passed away, and also an attorney, and hers was different. It was different in terms of she was also seen as this like beautiful spirit and human being and mother. And it made me want to be more loving and give more love into the world. And then the straw that broke the proverbial camel's back was my stepfather died in May of 2018 in a tragic bike accident. He was hit by a car.
Wow.
And rocked my world in terms of like writing his obit, right? And writing his everything like, wow, this guy's like a Renaissance man. He lived life fully. He did multiple careers, like, and he didn't take no for an answer. And I'm like, it's time. That was the one that was like, okay, it's time. I can't live and wait just for life to happen to me because that doesn't work that way. Like, I need to happen to life.
Yeah, that's not the first time that, when we think about our obit, I know I've said that at some pivotal points in my life too. And now I get to focus on some, being able, I feel like my obit tomorrow would read, she lived life to the fullest and gave back to the world in such a way. Right. So, but I honestly, just like you, my life wasn't always like that. Especially younger. I did pour my life into my kids and my business. So I think if nothing else, here's the first action item for all of our listeners is think about your obit and that alignment, because you and I use the same word. We didn't match on purpose either, people. We're so aligned on our focus in life and who we serve. Just so happens we also happen to be wearing the same color. But it really is about really getting alignment with your true self, with the goals and missions of your life. And, part of what I do is also about the financial legacy as well. So one of the challenges, and I would love to hear your opinion on this, of we both work with high achieving women. Why is it so common that we as high achieving women kind of get stuck? And I don't want to get stuck on the words, but get stuck in this growth mode of something that may not be aligned with who we truly are and what we truly want out of life.
I know.
What have you found?
Again, I think there's so many answers to that question, but the one that are all true. And the one that pops first into my mind is, since we do work so hard and for so long on certain things, we have a really hard time giving it up, or we think if we pivot, we view it as failure instead of, oh, that was in our path for X amount of time to grow us to who we are. Like, for example, for a long time, I beat myself up for being a lawyer. I was like, why did I go to law school? I don't want to be a lawyer. I want to be a coach or a chef or like something else anyway. Why did I waste my time there? And then finally I realized, oh my gosh, Wendy, you're looking at this totally wrong. Like, all your steps as an attorney and being in trial and like being trial under fire and having to think on your feet in the courtroom, that just prepared you for who you are today. But it took me a really long time to get there. And I think it's the guilt of leaving. Also, I think for so many of us, we have so many tabs open in our brain at any given moment, right? That we
Yes.
don't slow down to think, do I actually like this? And oh gosh, can I even slow down enough to think what I actually want? Because if I do slow down, what the heck is going to happen? Like, is my life going to completely fall apart? And I don't know if I can handle that too. Because if my career falls apart, then that has reverberating consequences everywhere else. So instead we just go, 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 go without taking the pause. So those are the two that come to mind quickest.
Yes, I would totally have to agree on that too. I think also for the women that I have worked with, and including myself, that, especially if you have a family and, kids that are still in the house, for me, that was my main focus. Then the day-to-day stuff that just has to happen. And so there just wasn't room for me to slow down, like you said, or for me to take the time to think, okay, if I didn't do this, what would I do? Because that you don't just pivot one day and, you shouldn't anyway. Don't quit without a plan. But I think there's like so many, like you said, so many other tabs open, so many other things on our plate. And that's pretty true for the majority of the clients and women that I've worked with, that until someone gives them permission to really take the time, it just doesn't come to the top of the list of things to do.
And I think we're scared too, because usually we know that there is a hidden truth in there that we don't want to face. And once we start having real honest conversations with ourselves or led by a coach or somebody else, like to ask us those hard questions, or a therapist, it's like, oh, and that's going to be a really tough decision. And that's going to take a lot of time and money and frustration. And I'm not ready to deal with it yet. So I think sometimes it's just easier to be on than switch ourselves off, because even though on is uncomfortable, off might be even more uncomfortable for us for a variety of reasons.
Yes. Yes. I think one other thing that comes to mind is the dedication and commitment that we have. So I know even in my first business many, many, many moons ago, it wasn't an industry that I was super passionate about, but I found the things within it that I could stick to and feel good about those things. And for that, it was like bringing up leaders and developing other people, which coincidentally enough, decades later leads me to coaching. So, it is dedication too. I've had that a couple of times. So we know that it happens and it happens frequently. So can you help us with how an individual who's listening right now would be able to identify, besides us just giving permission and saying, hey, this is your sign to slow down and take a look at your life and see what parts are aligned. Where can folks start before they hit either a state of really being unhappy or burnout, which happens a lot in us high performing women? So where does one start?
And where does one start in terms of slowing down?
And getting aligned.
So for me, every time I've gotten aligned, it started with me diving full into my physical health. So that's always the first domino that kind of starts all the different things when I'm about to make a big life change. And I've seen that happen time and time again, starting from like when I was like in middle school. If I go back and really start thinking, okay, like all Wendy's big pivots, what happened first? So, and I think the reason why for me is I think my body must be like clearing my brain, like clearing whatever. I'm not a scientist, but clearing like out the junk, clearing out the junk to allow me to really think clearly. And usually if you're working out, like you're not like, hopefully you're not scrolling on your phone or doing anything else. You're really just having that like physical exertion, right? And for me, that what clears the cobwebs in my brain, makes me get more honest with myself. And I think it just invigorates me to have the courage in general, like mentally, physically, to take the next step. So if anyone's like super duper stuck, like sometimes I'm like, are we working out yet? Because like for me, that's the catalyst, but that starts everything else. And then in terms of, okay, what to do next once your mind is clear, then that's where I recommend someone like dive all into some sort of personal development book that is asking these questions. And some of my favorites, I love Future Boards by Sarah Centrella. I love Marie Forleo's Everything is Figureoutable. There's one, I can't remember, it's called Life by Design. It's by two like Stanford professors. And I'm sure there's like boatloads of others, but I encourage someone like do the cheap route, right? Like buy a $10, $12 book on Amazon, like one that gets good reviews, and actually do the homework. Like go through it. When it says stop and do the homework, do the homework. And again, keep trying to find that alignment in yourself just by following the program. I think those are the two things. Like, so the working out kind of helps you pause, or it clears out the cobwebs. Your brain is thinking better. Like buy a book, and then if the book, then you start really thinking like, oh, okay, I see the path now, but I don't know how to get there, then that's where I recommend they hire a coach. At that point, they have the coach, they have the accountability partner, they have someone like helping and like walking them through. But first, let's see if they can kind of coach themselves a little bit and get some clarity so they're not wasting too much time with a coach once they hire that person.
Yes, absolutely. I think you were spot on. I was not sure what your answer would be, and you didn't know what questions I was asking you. So I have to, as part of my routine too, that I, especially at the end of the day, I sometimes will walk in the morning as well, but I love doing it after work because it just sets that tone. I'm listening to non-work related books. I am doing something for myself. And matter of fact, my other half, sometimes when I don't for a couple days in a row, he's like, can you just go for a walk? Something's off about you. Can you just go for a walk and I will come back a whole new person. I'll get a little testy, like why I don't need to go for a walk, but I go for a walk and I'm a whole new person. And that's like, an hour or less. So I 100% double down on your recommendation to just go do something active for your body, away from the office, away from the kids, away from whatever, and do something for yourself.
Yeah. And also what I didn't mention, I also started yoga like in earnest, like October of last year. So we've been almost a full year into like hot yoga at least twice a week. that has changed my life as well. That has really slowed me down in terms of, because even the yoga studio, you're not even allowed to bring a phone or a watch or anything in. So you don't even know what time it is for like an hour and 15 minutes. So you have to just be in the practice. And it's so much like breath work and sweat and beautiful music and movement like that. That has calmed me down and given me this like level of peace and I can't think of the word I'm looking for, groundedness that I've never had before. And like, I'm still in a pretty high stress profession. I still deal with high conflict families and parent coordination, mediation, etc. And I've never been this even ever since starting the yoga. So that will definitely slow you down in terms of just like the mindfulness, like movement, like for sure.
All right. Before we dive back in, I want to take a moment to talk about something that can take what you're learning today in this episode, as well as our previous episodes, and turn it into something that is real strategic growth for your business. For example, if you're feeling inspired by what you're hearing today, maybe you want to improve your leadership. Maybe you want to refine your systems. Maybe you want to build a more scalable business. Maybe you just want to get out of your own way and break free from those limiting beliefs that may be holding you back. If are you feeling that way, then you are exactly the kind of entrepreneur who will thrive in our strategic shift program. You see, it's designed for women entrepreneurs just like you, who are established, ambitious, and ready to build something that is not just successful today, but is positioned for more growth, long-term value, and freedom, right? That's why we're in business in the first place. In this program, you'll get proven framework, tools and resources, financial insights, strategic mindset shifts, everything that you need to work methodically through the growth of your business. And the best part is it grows with you. This isn't a course that you just take once and has basic business information in it. This is something that has the actual tools as if you were working alongside a coach to help you build the foundation and continue to build on it year after year as you continue to scale. It's even designed to work with your leadership team once you get to that point in your business. So if you're serious about building a business that is valuable today and continues to grow in value while you're not having to work harder, then check out the strategic shift on Tina-Sue. Look for courses and look for strategic shift. So let's get back to our show.
Sure. I love that. Okay. So besides the physical stuff that we can do for ourselves, I also feel that a big part of getting really clear on your true self and getting aligned, it has a lot to do with mindset. I know I have met some folks who didn't think they could do that thing that they really desire to do. And there's a lot of mindset work. What do you recommend, and what kind of mindset are you running into with the folks that you're coaching?
Yeah. So I'm going to kind of flip it and say how I help. And then maybe when I talk about how I help, we can kind of like backwards, back into, what they're dealing with. But I look at mindset really granularly is the best way, I think, because if we just say not John Candy, but what's the guy's name from Saturday Night Live where he's like, I am wonderful and people like me. You know what I mean?
In front of the mirror every day.
Right. So when
put my Post-it notes up.
Right. When we talk about mindset work, sometimes people they pull a card from an affirmation deck, and it might be a kind of a cool card, and it might be great, and it might be dead on. If the universe is listening, it might be the exact card they need. But sometimes they look at it and well, this doesn't fit, right?
Yeah, so it's like a horoscope.
Exactly. So the way I teach mindset is, and this is like a morning practice I encourage all of my clients to do, and every time on stage, this is my secret sauce, right here, which is when you wake up, before you look at your phone, before you look at anything else, take a quick scan of your day and ask, what do I have on tap today? What is the big, and I call it the big event, but what thing today is going to require my attention the most? Let's pretend you are about to go and have a meeting with your boss that day. Maybe you're asking for a raise or a promotion, and your boss scares the crap out of you, and you're really nervous, and you don't even know how to walk into that office, right? So that's your big event. And then you think about, okay, when I walk into that office and ask for the promotion, who do I want to be? Who do I want to channel? And you can think of a movie star or a person you admire or your best friend or like your like confident sister or somebody, right? And kind of envision this person, but like you know, who you want to be walking into that room, and then assign her adjectives for who she needs to be. So it could be, I am confident, I am well spoken, I don't back down, I'm resilient, I'm unwavering, whatever it might be. And then to think of yourself walking into that room with those adjectives, and even see, like, as I'm talking about it, like, I think I'm like standing up, my shoulders are going back, like my whole body is already like assuming this person, and do a little dress rehearsal in your mind. And this exercise takes like 2 minutes. It doesn't take a whole lot of, like, you don't have to journal, you don't have to write it down. I mean, I encourage you to, but you don't have to. And just and say, I am confident, I am unwavering, I am deserving of this promotion I'm about to ask for. And then what that person finds is, like, as that starts trickling in their brain, they start doing this process every day with regard to all the events. But when she walks into the office to ask for the promotion, like, all of a sudden, like, she's going to remember. She's going to get scared for a moment, like, oh, I'm scared, da da da. She's like, no, this morning I said this is who I want to be. And then she's going to stand up taller, her shoulders back, and she's going to walk into that room that she already did the dress rehearsal for that morning. And she already did the dress rehearsal showing up as who she wanted to be. So I teach mindset in that way, like little itty bitty drips every single day until it gets to the point where it just comes way more naturally. And she is that person rather than telling herself she has to be that person.
I love that. So potentially in addition to, or in place of like your rocks for the day, you are looking at those big events, but then instead of like, I am going to accomplish these, it's who I'm going to be when I do these big things. Yes. I absolutely love that shift in your secret sauce.
Yeah, it's becoming that person as opposed to the things, like all the things I have to do.
Right. Instead of just checking the list of like, okay, I did the things. It's really about who I want to be. And so that exercise, do you have examples of people that you've worked with and how that has come into play in their real life?
I can't pull one right now off the top of my head. I think I only had 4 hours of sleep last night. I can think of my examples and where they've worked really, really well for me.
Yeah, share your examples.
Yeah, I'll share mine. So with regard to unwavering, I had one of my last trials several years ago, and I had this piece of evidence I really wanted to get in because it showed the character of the dad going for custody of his 13-year-old daughter. And this dude should not have custody of his 13-year-old daughter. And like, he had said some really not nice things about women on social media. But the relevance of that evidence was shaky. You know, I could see why a judge might not let it in. And I knew his attorney would object. So when I walked in, when I was thinking about court that morning and nervous, because no matter how many cases you've tried, you still get nervous. You still get butterflies. It's still terrifying, you know, like the cross-examination and the judge is there and like people.
It's the unknown. Yeah. Right? You have no idea what anyone's going to ask you. This is a piece of cake.
I know, right? And it's public speaking, right? It's public speaking and thinking on your feet and a heck of a ton of preparation. It's like a huge presentation over the course of like 10 days because trials can be like a very long time. And I knew, and the opposing counsel also was an interesting character. And, but I thought about it. So I got, big event is trial. I'm like, no, actually big event is cross-examination of the father. No, actually the big event is getting in that piece of evidence that you were cross-examining dad. And so I saw this with a lot of particularity and I said, okay, I am unwavering. Like that is who I am. And I made a decision and I really sucked it in. And then like fast forward, 5 hours later in court, other opposing counsel objected 3 times. So baby lawyer Wendy, after he did the first objection, like, oh no, I can't do it. Sorry, sorry, client, I'm not going to get in the evidence. A little bit later, like 2 objections, I say to client, he's already objected twice. I don't want to be a pain in front of the judge. We need to move on. But like this day, I was like, I said I'm unwavering. I'm getting it in. And when he objected the 3rd time, I'm like, Your Honor, blah, blah, blah. I don't even know what came out of my mouth. It was like very hyper and very fast speaking and very just like emphatic. And she said, great, overruled. It's admitted. Let's move on. That would not have happened. I would have not gotten that evidence in. And I did hear through the grapevine later that it did matter, but I would not have gotten it in, but for me saying I was going to be unwavering, period. Period. It wouldn't have happened. Some clients, now I'm talking, I remember some examples. Even like a lot of our clients have a hard time being present when they're with their family, right? And being present with their kids because like work is always so overwhelming and takes up every freaking corner of our time and space. And it's funny because like we all work really, really hard to support our family and to give our kids a good life. And we forget
That's why we start a business in the first place.
then we forget our kids actually want us. They actually want us there and present and cheering and not on our phone at the soccer game.
Yes.
So I have a client and like it was like twofold for her, but she decided she was going to be present, just present. So that day she like her son had baseball practice and her daughter was there with her as well, like just like hanging out. And normally she would be on her phone, on her laptop, let her daughter on her iPad, sit in the car, let him do whatever. And she's like, no, I'm present. So she made sure like got out of the car, put all the electronics away. I think she had like extra softball stuff. So she played catch with her daughter, was watching her son, and she said, I am a present mom. Because even though she's running this amazing firm and like she is at the top of her game, like she wasn't feeling like she was at the top of the game in terms of being a parent. So like I'm a present parent. And again, like the examples go on and on, whether like in meetings, at work, at home, with our spouses, with our friends. Like so many times I've used this little piece and it's made my life definitely better. And the other cool thing about it is when we forecast it forwards, our memory is stronger going backwards. Meaning,
Tell me more.
So like I think remember this trial and this like piece with laser particularity because I planned for it before I got there.
Oh, sure.
So, right. So I planned for it before I got there. It was in my brain. It played out very similar to how I thought it would play out there. And then the next day when I also do a reflection on what went great the day before, I have it. And so because it's like I hit that moment 3 times and now every time I talk about it, but since I hit that moment at least 3 times, I've formed this like inside out core memory ball. Are you familiar with the movie Inside Out? Like
no, I don't think so.
Oh, that's your homework. You have
Okay.
Inside Out.
I'm horrible with like names of movies. I'll be like, oh my God, I saw that a week ago. And
like
I won't know the name of it.
It's like the little girl and all the emotions are at the, like they're all kind of like playing in her mind. So she has like joy and sadness, anger, and disgust. Oh, it's the best movie to explain emotions, especially to kiddos. But a part of the movie Inside Out is it's really important to hold on to these core memories because the core memories make up who we are. So there's certain core memories in the movie that you get to keep and certain ones get like thrown out because you don't need them anymore. So what I think is really cool is like when we do this practice, we get to like manufacture in a cool way the core memories that we want to keep forever. And if we are manufacturing these memories and the memories make us, we are getting to decide who we want to be. And again, live in alignment with her.
Okay.
Once you watch the movie, it's going to make more sense.
No, I'm very visual, so I am kind of picturing what it would be, but I did write it down, so I will make that my my homework. So, as folks are thinking about this, who they want to be, I know you said the first step is sort of doing that in the morning and thinking about your biggest thing of the day. How, and I feel like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but there's these different, say, adjectives, different people who we want to be in different situations. So there might be some big thing at work, but then also maybe that soccer game or something, or maybe you have to have a difficult conversation with a family member. So is that the programming of I'm going to be this person here, but I'm going to be calm and respectful and whatever with that difficult conversation? Like how do we navigate all of the things that are thrown at us in a day and a week and a month and a year?
Well, so the exercise I have, and I have a journal that goes along with it. So ideally you're journaling every day and you're really just focusing on one. Now, can you do focus on 2? And do I sometimes do a slash, be like, okay, I'm going to be this person here and this person at home? Sure. But with all of my coaching and all of my like advice to clients is I preach baby steps all the time. So I'm really just having them focus on the one thing because it's hard enough to get someone to focus on the one thing.
And do it consistently. Like, dang it, I said I was going to be like not wavering, unwavering, and I broke. And then you have to do it again.
Right. And then it's like showing up again and again and again until we get it right. Because we're humans. Like we're going to screw stuff up.
For sure.
But it's really just, and like sometimes my clients are like, well, I don't know what the big event today is. I'm like, well, it doesn't have to be a big event. It's just like where you want really to concentrate your attention today the most. Like what deserves your attention the most.
And just then again, what you said is envision who it is that you want to be at that thing. Even if it's a day off or a chill Saturday, that might that might be it. I'm just going to be present with my family. I don't have anything major going on. I'm just going to be
Or
a good mom.
exactly, especially weekends too. When we talk about slowing down, it's so hard for us to sit there and do nothing. It's so hard
Yes.
for us maybe to watch TV and not also try and work or clean out our closet or whatever, or just like relax. But like maybe it's just I'm relaxing and that is it, and that's okay. So like when we start to find ourselves doing work, we're like, nope, actually no, sit back down, put the covers on, just be.
Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking that different people kind of absorb that in different ways. So for some folks, it might be writing it down. For others, it's visualizing it and potentially writing it down. Is there any other creative ways that people can kind of make that their own, depending on how they absorb and take in these
Those are
types
the
of
two.
challenging things?
Yeah, I think those are the two. Like I have something called the pause time playbook, and that helps, right? Because they do it at least every day for a whole week. But writing, and I think there's been scientific studies to show too. If I had to choose, because I think it's either visualization or writing. I don't know if I can't think of another one. The one that popped in mind was singing, but I can't sing, so I don't know if that goes.
I do sing. I
Oh,
just shouldn't in public.
right, exactly. But there is science proven, right? Like when you write down a goal, and this is a goal in a way, this is a goal of who we want to show up as. I think we're like 40% more likely to accomplish it if we write it down in our own handwriting. I might be fudging that statistic, but it sounds sort of right. So if someone had the time, I would encourage them to write it down. But I can't think of another way they would do it. But if you have another idea, I would love to hear it.
I'm just thinking of some creative folks that I've worked with that would literally like draw out some I can't draw either. That whole creative singing drawing is the part of I'm left-handed too, so maybe that's the other side of my brain. But I have had some clients that have kind of in a writing way, but more in an artistic way,
The people who are really good
like a
at
doodling.
yeah,
Yep.
like I'm very jealous of them because I can't.
Yes.
I'm 45, right? My doodles look the exact same as they did when I was in third grade. So
Yeah, mine too, probably.
I draw,
Can't say I've doodled in a while.
I draw flowers, trees, butterflies, all the exact same way I still did back
Stick
then.
people.
Yep.
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah. So I guess our point is like whatever allows them to get the clear vision of who they want to be in the present moment, do that for yourself. We gave some examples there, but then it's going to build upon to where is eventually this person who we want to be is just kind of our natural
Yeah.
self sense.
Yes. 100%.
It's amazing.
I know. And the really cool thing too, again, I'm going to make another plug for actually writing this down, like in a journal or a notepad or whatever, is then you have the opportunity to go back and you get to see, well, who was I 6 months ago? Who was I a year ago? Who was I 2 or 3 years ago, depending on how many journals you have. And I go back sometimes, I'm like, I was worried about what, or, oh, wow, like this was something I was really working on. And now this is just a part of my identity. Like, how cool is that? So I love it when people do write it out and keep their journals so they can go back and see, well, what was working for them? Like what worked and how far have they come?
Mm-hmm. I have had clients do some video journaling as well, which is more my style. Writing to me is just
We talk
a time suck. Yeah, we talked about that on last time we chatted. It's a time suck, but now with technology, I think I'm going to do this actually back to our obits that I am going to start doing audio for my kids and my family. I just haven't had the time to do it, but this is maybe where you could do a Zoom or whatever, or even on your own phone and do a video of here's who I'm going to be today and literally looking at yourself doing it.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so part of that, like I can tell you I used to always write, I'm confident because I was not confident at all. And I was terrified to speak in court, like absolutely terrified. But what got me there is when Facebook Live became a thing, again, like 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. And going on Facebook Live or now Instagram stories, or I think LinkedIn has something now too. Just going and like seeing yourself talk and like breathing life into women and just like talking about your inspirational thing for the day. Which almost feels like the video diary, like you're talking about, definitely made me who I am and got me here. So I think there's a lot of truth in like seeing yourself on video and seeing the mirror and keep like tweaking it until like, yeah, that's who I am, that woman.
Mm-hmm. The other routine that I will share, one of my favorite songs is Sia and Unstoppable. It is my morning playlist. I have in my Spotify a morning playlist, and it's called Power Women, and it's songs like that. But that is my theme song for myself. I'm a Porsche with no brakes. It's a quote from the song.
Love it. Love it.
Yes. So maybe, if music is the thing that speaks to you, I feel like you could do some of this work that you're sharing and then, just make it your own.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or you can ask ChatGPT to write you a song.
Oh, there is I will look it up and maybe put it in the show notes. There is a website that is amazing, and you can say whether it's country or hip hop or pop or whatever, and give it some ideas, and it will write you a song and play it. And it's crazy.
I love that. So your listeners could actually make a song for themselves, a pump up song for them, and who they
song for themselves
generally want to be, and listen to it every morning. I love
Yes.
that. See, we got to singing. We just didn't have to do it ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be our words that we want to sing to ourselves, but in a much better professional voice created by AI. I will put that in the show notes. I will share it with you directly, Wendy. So, yeah, I think we just hit it on how anyone can make sure that they get aligned and the steps to do it. Do you want to do a summary of everything that you know and have worked with clients on, and a couple minutes? Yeah, exactly. No pressure.
Wait, rephrase. Counselor, can I have that question again, please?
Yeah. A summary of your advice to the high achieving women who want to get alignment in their life. What would your advice be?
Whew, that is hard. Okay. So my summary would be, and sort of starting with the advice is, remember, everything is baby steps. I do not advise big leaps. Like you said earlier, not big leaps, certainly without a plan. Keep taking steps forward in ways that feel good. And if it feels good, take the next step, take the next step, take the next step. And then with all these little steps, you will accomplish big things. And to get really freaking honest with yourself, because you know what it is that's holding you back. You know what it is. And if it's too scary to admit, either find an amazing therapist, amazing coach, amazing somebody, and keep asking the questions and get really freaking curious with yourself to admit what the big thing is. And then once you figure out the big thing, for me, at first I finally had to admit to myself it was time for me to leave my firm, right? And that was in 2018. And that was a really, really hard decision. I didn't come to it by myself. I did it with the help of a coach. She got me there, but you know what it is. Trust your intuition, trust your gut, and then start taking teeny tiny baby steps to right the ship. I think it's really that simple. Be curious, be honest, take a baby step.
I think it's interesting that you're a coach and you had to hire a coach. I did the same for my last pivot in life because I was happy but not aligned. Things weren't bad, but they just weren't the impact that I wanted to make. My obit would not have said the things that I wanted them to say. Mm-hmm. And you're right. We have the answers in ourselves because we ask these questions of our clients. It's just harder to pull them out of ourselves. So I also, as a coach asking these questions of other people, hired my own coach to help me get super clear. And she asked me questions I would not ask myself, and I would not have gone there. And, goes back to childhood and all of our beliefs and all the things. And so, yeah, even coaches hire coaches.
Yes. 100%. I tell I think everyone in this world should have a coach and a therapist, right? Everybody, because it just helps us be really truthful with ourselves, going backwards, being present, and where do we want to go in the future? And if we have those two people helping us, I think we're unstoppable. We're unstoppable.
Unstoppable.
There we go.
We'll play that song with this episode. Just be a background theme. Oh my gosh, this has been amazing, Wendy. This is exactly why I was so excited for today. I think this relates to every single person that we're listening or that is listening to us. So I really want to thank you for your expertise today. And we will put all of your contact information in the show notes if you want to share it now too, of how people can work with you. And then we'll put that in writing as well.
Perfect. Easiest way people can work with me, kind of what we talked about before, you can just buy a book and see if you like what I have to say. So I wrote the book, Sparkle and Grit. I don't.
Yes,
They're both-
I actually have your Amazon link. I was looking at, you have a journal as well, or a workbook.
I do. So the Sparkle and Grit book is an easy way for people to work with me and like see what I'm like, but they can find me on LinkedIn. And I know you'll have all the links there, and Instagram. Those are the places I hang out the most. And I'll also give you a link for the Pause Time Playbook. It's free and people can do a 7-day deep dive and kind of talk about what we talked about today, which is intentionally picking out their big event, their mindset, et cetera, in terms of creating who they want to be, which might be slowing down, but it might also be speeding up. So
it might be doing a pivot. Who knows? It's wherever life is supposed to take you and where you're aligned.
Exactly.
Awesome. Thanks again, Wendy.
Yeah, no problem.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Please be sure to hit subscribe on your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an episode. The Women Choosing Growth Show is not just another podcast. It's a tribe of women helping each other grow. So please share this podcast with all the women entrepreneurs that you would love to see succeed. If you'd like to know more about customized business advising through Cultivate Advisors, download business tools, or sign up for upcoming events, visit www.womenchoosinggrowth.com. Once again, that's www.womenchoosinggrowth.com. Remember, we are in this together. See you on the next one.